This is Modern Service Mastery, business school with boots on. Real lessons, real talk, and real growth for the residential service industry. Let's get to work.
You know, one of the most transformative tools we have at our disposal, whether you're in a leadership role or not, is the power of reviews. Weekly and monthly check-ins. They're not about punishment or picking out flaws. They're your chance to, well, refine what you're doing one step at a time.
Yeah, they're like, well, okay, hear me out. Kind of like those pep talks you give yourself before hitting a big hill on a bike. You're not sitting there tearing yourself down for not pedaling fast enough. You're just checking in, making sure you're in the right gear, pushing just hard enough to keep it steady.
Exactly, Jake. Weekly performance reviews are all about steady incremental growth. And you don't need a massive overhaul every time, just 1% improvements week by week. They compound over time into measurable, meaningful growth.
Okay, so let's make this real. How do you, actually do this consistently without people feeling like it's a performance review from the office?
Great question. It comes down to building confidence in the process. Instead of framing reviews as what's wrong, you shift the perspective to what's next. Okay, let's run through a quick scenario.
You mean role play? Oh, I'm in. Who am I playing? The overworked rookie? The team lead skipping lunch? Give me my backstory, coach.
Ha! No need for Oscar-worthy acting here, Jake. Let's keep it simple. I'll be the crew leader offering feedback, and you're a team member who's had a rough couple of weeks. Late starts, missed deadlines. Sound familiar?
Too familiar. Hit me, figuratively. What's my boss want to say?
All right, so it starts with empathy, something like this. Hey, Jake, I noticed you've been struggling to meet some of the usual timelines lately. Can you share with me how things are going on your end?
Yeah, boss. I've just been, kind of juggling some personal stuff, making it hard to stay on top of everything. Sorry about that.
Thanks for sharing that. I really appreciate your honesty. And listen, let's figure out something to help you get things back on track. How about this? For the next 3 weeks, let's focus on starting each day with a clear action plan. Maybe even tighten the morning prep with a checklist. I'll check in once a day to see how it's working. How does that sound?
Man, I'd appreciate that. Honestly, having a bit more structure would help a lot.
Exactly. And the key here is collaboration, right? You're not just pointing out the problem, you're crafting a solution together. Feedback is no longer this daunting negative thing. It's an opportunity. And over time, this process builds trust and confidence.
Plus, you're keeping the vibe positive. No one's walking out like, great, I just got chewed out at work.
Right. And when those 1% improvements come, they're celebrated every step of the way. And sooner than later, those tiny steps start to reflect in performance, in morale, and in the bigger picture.
It's kind of wild when you think about it. Just fixing one thing a week doesn't sound sexy, but it stacks up.
Absolutely. And it starts with shifting mindsets around the reviews. Instead of dread, it's anticipation. What's the next step forward? Building confidence through reviews is great, but you might be wondering, where do you direct that focus? To keep your team progressing steadily, you've got to understand the 6 core areas that drive success: sales, teamwork, quality, efficiency, safety, and dependability. Each of these deserves its moment in the spotlight, so let's break them down.
Okay, this already sounds like one of those management consultant slideshows. 6 metrics? Why not 5? Or, 3? What makes these 6 so critical?
Fair question. These 6 cover the entire scope of what most teams deal with daily. For example, sales captures revenue goals, teamwork measures collaboration, quality reflects actual work output, and so on. It's a complete picture, no fluff.
Got it. So let's start with sales. Every team feels that pressure. What's your nugget of wisdom there?
Sales. Simple but critical. Weekly, you're looking at tracking sales numbers against targets. If it's landscaping, maybe it's how many enhancement jobs were sold or closed. Monthly, analyze trends. What's converting well? What strategies might need a tweak? Set weekly goals and number of meetings. Weekly makes it easy to identify challenges, fix them, and get back on track fast.
Okay, yeah, not just the numbers, but the story behind them. Efficiency would pair up nicely with sales, right? Selling's one thing, but actually getting it done on time is another.
Sure. Efficiency is all about resource and time management. Weekly, you're clocking job completion times or tracking wasted resources like idle hours. Monthly, you dig into bottlenecks and identify where workflow can improve.
Okay, field team, dependability. Show up on time, do the work, keep your promises, clean paperwork.
Exactly. Dependability measures punctuality, meeting deadlines, stuff like that. Weekly, you're checking attendance records and task adherence. Monthly, you use those patterns to tackle any concerns head on.
So quality? That's the moment of truth, right? Bad work, bad reviews, bad morale.
Right on. Weekly quality checks could include site visits and take pictures. They're your receipts, or calling your clients for feedback, or tracking how many reworks happened. But over time, monthly reviews help you sharpen things, fine-tune processes. In fact, we started adjusting our monthly training sessions based on the weekly meetings to address what's slipping in real time.
Brilliant, man. And then you've got safety. Everyone always says safety first, but how do you actually show that in the numbers?
Safety is preventative. Get out there and check for yourself, man. If the crew knows you may show up, they'll stay on it. Be proactive and inspect what you expect. It's the kind of stuff that shows you care about your team's well-being. Say, if I have to go to the hospital to see you with a piece of stone in your eye, I'm going to be pissed. Or worse, make a call to your wife with bad news.
Yeah, you skip safety and people notice, and not in a good way. So what about teamwork? That's got to be harder to measure, right?
It can be, but peer feedback is gold here. Weekly, you're observing team dynamics. Are they supporting each other, or is there friction? Monthly, you dive deeper. What's working or what needs fixing and how the team collaborates.
Okay, hold up. How do you even bring all this together without it feeling, I don't know, overwhelming?
This is where tools come in. Performance dashboards track your metrics in real time. Simple feedback cards streamline input. The idea is to make the process smooth, not a headache.
All right, I hear you. But talk is cheap. How do you actually walk into a meeting and break all this down without everyone zoning out?
Good point. Let's role play. Imagine it's Monday morning. I'm leading the team meeting, and I'll walk everyone through the 6 metrics. Ready?
Hit me, coach.
All right, team, let's jump in. Here's what last week looked like across our main metrics. For sales, we hit 85% of our target. Great job closing those enhancements. Efficiency-wise, we lost a bit of time grouping the trailers in the morning. Let's tackle that by tightening our prep with new checklists. On dependability, we're still solid. On-time counts are at 98%, but let's not get complacent. Any thoughts so far?
Yeah, on teamwork, I think having more hands when we load gear first thing would help keep things smoother.
Good call. Let's try doubling up specifically on the bigger setups. Efficiency gains there could make a huge difference. And safety, I went to 3 sites this week and everyone was wearing PPE and solid, really good guys. Let's keep that going. But remember, speak up if you spot something. Any takeaways for the action plan this week?
Yep, simple, clear, focused, and it doesn't feel like a boring lecture. I like it.
All right, we've seen how tying everything back to the 6 metrics keeps team meetings sharp and focused. But what really empowers those discussions is building a consistent and meaningful feedback loop. Let's talk about how structured one-on-ones and smart tools can help turn insights into actionable improvements.
So you're saying it's not about giving someone a laundry list of, hey, you're messing this up. It's more like, here's how we can improve this together.
Exactly. It starts with personal check-ins. These are opportunities to connect, to really understand what's going on behind the scenes. And look, these meetings aren't about micromanaging. They're about showing up and saying, I'm here to help.
Yeah, like creating the space where someone feels safe enough to say, here's what's tripping me up, instead of just nodding and saying, sure, I'll fix it.
Right? And that trust builds over time. When you shift the dynamic to collaboration, you start seeing real growth, not just in the metrics, but in the overall morale and cohesion of the team.
Okay, but let's get tactical here. What tools can people actually use to make this easier?
Good question. A couple of game changers, scorecards and SOPs. Simple scorecards let team members give input, whether it's about processes, team dynamics, or their own performance. It opens the door for two-way communication.
Kind of like a no BS check-in. You get straight up data or insights without awkwardness. Cool.
Exactly. Now, SOPs, which are key in turning feedback into action. Simple one-page standards. Say you identify a recurring issue with quality. Maybe there's a gap in skills. Grab the SOP, review the details, get the team up to speed, and boom, you're back on track.
Plus, SOPs aren't just for fixing stuff. They're great for leveling up, right? Like pushing someone from good to great.
Absolutely. And the beauty of these tools is that they're not cumbersome. They're designed to fit into existing routines, weekly team reviews, monthly individual check-ins. You don't need to reinvent the wheel, just make it roll smoother.
All right, so let's bring it all together. What's the big picture takeaway from all this?
At the end of the day, it's about creating a culture where feedback is seen as opportunity, not criticism. It's using structured processes and practical tools to guide individuals and teams toward consistent growth. And honestly, it's about showing people you're invested in their success.
And when they see that, they'll show up stronger, work harder, and even look forward to those check-ins.
Exactly, Jake. So to everyone listening, take the time, invest in the process, and remember, It's those small, consistent steps that lead to big results.
And on that note, thanks for tuning in, folks. Lead your team, set the pace, and get the job done right.
Oh, and don't forget to celebrate the wins, big or small. Share your experience and ideas in the comments, do the action items, and until next time, take care and keep moving forward.
Thanks for listening to Modern Service Mastery Business School with Boots On. If this episode helped you lead, grow, or think differently, share it with your crew and keep the momentum going.